Hi guys, Vanity from Cloud9 Valorant here, and today I'll be showing you all the one-way smokes that you need to know on Omen, presented by Microsoft.
My blood never ends.
Like the easiest way to understand one-way smokes is on a lot of maps, I guess. If there's a red arrow, like it gets stuck in the wall, so it collides with the wall and it doesn't like fall. Versus like if it's a green arrow, like for example, this is red arrow, so it's gonna stick in the wall. Nothing's gonna happen. The smoke's not gonna fall. But if it's a green arrow and you put it like somewhere up here, right, the smoke's gonna fall down. So like that's an easy way to understand how the smoke is gonna interact with the map. I think the most useful ones on split would definitely be this early one for B main. Like this, the bottom of the smoke, like this blue part isn't showing on the floor, so it looks like this. Another useful one is the same concept, just the red arrow. Make sure like there's like a blue thing on the bottom. You can see it, I hope. And just make sure it's not like on the floor, because if it is, it's not going to be as much one way. Just lift it up a little bit, and then it achieves the same purpose. This one works pretty well if you teleport up here. Split is one of the maps where I think one-ways probably are the most relevant, because you can one-way pretty much like any part of this map. Like for example, if you have B and like they're coming out, you can one-way the bomb. If you plant here, they can't really do anything about it. Same thing applies for like CT spawn if you want to do it. On defense side split, I think it's pretty strong to start off with a one-way smoke. Probably like honestly like pretty much every round you can alternate between the two. Like there's this one on A where you throw it like this and you can hold from numerous angles. You probably want it a little lower. I think on defense it's pretty strong to start with the one-way on either of the mains, so either this one or the one that's B main. On attack side, probably shouldn't throw them unless you're in like a post plant. Initially, like when you're taking a bomb site, like say A for example, like you probably just want to throw ones like this, like normal smokes. That's all the one-way smokes that I think are super useful for split, and now we're gonna go into the next map. So now I'll be talking about the one-way smokes on Ascent. I think this is one of probably Omen's second best map when it comes to one-way smokes. I think they're a lot stronger on defense compared to attack, whereas split, I think there's pretty viable ones on both sides. There's a few on attack side, but it's not as relevant as it was on split. I think the main one-way that you'll see in your games is probably the one I main. This is the green arrow just on this ledge here. It does the same thing. You can see them. So if you start like this one, it's typically pretty strong to have your teammates help you, because sometimes if people just want to run through it, they can beat you. Pretty situational. I think you can use it with teammates or without teammates, and it has value. A strong thing to do is sometimes if like you hear them take a main fast, for example, you can just throw your paranoia, and then you still have it, and then you can keep smoking it, and it's hard for them to get back into a main. I think another one that sometimes is utilized, but not that much, is if you want to play like top gen or something. It's the same concept. The red arrow just a little above the floor, like here maybe for example. And you can see them run across. It works also if you play up here. Another strong one-way for Ascent defense side is there's one on Cat. Put it into this wall here, like this, and you can play like up here, and then you see them before they see you. I think you want it a little bit lower, but this also works. You just have to play a higher elevation so they can't see you. Another strong one-way for defense is in B main. Same concept. You put the red arrow into the wall, a little off the floor, and it should look something like this. This one is pretty strong because a lot of players like ranked, they typically don't go and be main, so you have like free control. If people do, it's usually only one guy, so it should be pretty easy to get the kill. Some of my favorite one-ways on attack side, if you throw one on top of the boathouse here, this one is pretty good. I think the one on this ledge is better. They both have value, but I think this one is probably easier to use. I think attacking on A site, once you have the bomb planted, I think a pretty strong one-way is putting it here on this ledge. It makes it pretty annoying for people to come through. It's easy to play like around here. Another good spot is up here with it. I think another strong one-way, if the bomb is planted gen, is you can throw a smoke top gen, and then it makes it really difficult for them to defuse. It's pretty annoying to deal with. So this is all the one-way smokes that I think are really useful for Ascent. We'll be heading on to the next map now. So I think that Omen on Bind, his one-ways aren't nearly as consistently valuable as the other maps. I think there's a few, and I'll show them, but I think like the biggest strength of Omen is his flash. His paranoia covers pretty much like all of his short, and he's really strong in the lamps area. So like when they're droning, for example, you can throw a flash like this, and you can peek, or if you hear them running up, and it should be pretty easy to get the kills. For one-way smokes, like there's one on showers, which is kind of difficult, but you get the green arrow stuck in like something like this. It's a one-way. It's pretty good, but I feel like a lot of people don't tend to come from showers, so it's kind of hard to get use out of. I think for B site, the most useful ones are throw it on this ledge here with the green arrow. You play this box, you can see them running up. And obviously they can see you. If you're gonna play inside of hookah, if they don't have like a raise, for example, you can throw it on this lip here, like this. And you can hold, and it's pretty difficult for them to run through. That pretty much does it for one way. So on defense side, bind. I think on attack side, there's one that I can think of that's pretty good. So if you're gonna come towards showers, you should be able to throw one in this wall here. Something like this. It makes it more difficult for like the defenders to swing, so maybe you can get some map control with your teammates. So I don't think there's very many useful one-ways on attack side, but I think for when you're going out to sites, I'm a big fan of the deeper smokes, like just heaven smoke. Sometimes I save the other one, sometimes I use it, but usually it'll just be the heaven smoke. If my teammates are coming out showers, I'll smoke pipes also, but if you're coming up A short, I think just heaven is probably the best. If you're coming B, I think it's pretty strong to smoke elbow and smoke CT, and then you can throw a paranoia like this that blinds like most of sight. Another option for coming B is if you guys come up long with a lot of people, you can smoke elbow, and you can smoke hookah off, and it allows you to fight sight pretty easy. I mean, people can run through obviously, but it eliminates a lot of the angles and it allows you to clear like all of sight. So that's pretty much all that I have on bind for Omen. I don't think he's the best smoke agent, but I don't think he's bad. He's definitely playable and I think he's alright. So now let's go to the next map. So on Icebox, I think this is actually one of Omen's best maps. I think he has a lot of variability within his smokes and within his like teleport plays. So I think like one of my personal favorite things, if you're lucky enough to have teammates that'll actually play B and they don't make you like get stuck B on Omen, you can smoke like this. And you can TP into. Oh. Yes, guys, you don't want to TP like that. You see, you want to go inside of this, and then you can dodge the dart when you do this. You can like peek like this, maybe get some kills. If this doesn't work, for example, like maybe you're bad at aiming like me, you can throw some like other funny smokes, like maybe like here. You can do the same thing though. You can like maybe peek a little bit. You can teleport into it. If you don't hear anything, you can push. Verticality on this map really plays into Omen's strengths, and he's really strong. I think for B side, Omen's really strong also at controlling it early. So you pretty much want to put your like smoke into like this wall here, like the red part, and you can see them running out. It's pretty easy to get use out of. The only thing that really beats you is if like a jet up traps here, for example, but if they're just running through, it should be pretty easy to get kills. You can utilize the smoke from the floor also, but I think you want to throw it a little different if you use it from the floor, like up here. You can peek and you can kill them running out of garage. I think one of the strongest things to do with Omen on this map is at the start of the round, just teleport here. And it's really hard for them to deal with it. If you do get pushed back from long, for example, another good smoke is here. It's easy to hold the cross with. It's not as good as the other one ways, but it still does work. When you're attacking, I think one of the strongest smokes, one ways, the bomb gets planted, you can one way right here. The green arrow just needs to be high. It'll get stuck on something and then it's really impossible to defuse the bomb. So when you're attacking, I think a really strong smoke, ranked at least, is throwing something like this. Kind of eliminates the ability to get opt. Doesn't eliminate it, but it makes it a lot more difficult because it eliminates the top gen angle, the pipes angle. When you're going A, I think you should smoke simpler to this, like backside, and then you can smoke on the rafters if you have two smokes. And it makes kind of a one way. It's difficult to run through this, like they can see under it, but if they try to run through, they should die. Same thing as on B. If you get the bomb planted, if you plant it here, you can throw a smoke just top side, lands like this. It's really difficult to defuse with this on the bomb. I think that'll do it for Icebox. I think this is one of Omen's strongest maps, and I think you should give it a try in your ranked games. So now let's go on to Haven with all the one-way smokes presented by Microsoft. Going over Omen on Haven now. I think his one-ways on this map aren't as useful as the other maps, but he has some decent ones. I think his normal smokes and his flash have a lot of use though, so I think he's pretty good. I think one of the strongest ways to play Omen is smoke the end of a lobby, and then you can run up if you hear them. If the dart scans, for example, or gets broken, you can throw a flash like this, and you should have most of A. It helps to have a teammate long, hopefully Sova. Now for one way, there's some interesting ones for sure. I think if you're gonna end up playing C site, if you are playing like back site, for example, you can one way garage. This works for both sides. So if they're garage splitting, or like say you plant a bomb on C as attacker, this one way is pretty annoying to deal with. Obviously, it's pretty easy to play up here. It's pretty strong to play up here with it. Another one is if you want to smoke like this, put the red arrow on the wall. And you can see them running out. And you'll probably want it a little lower, but this one also would work. On defense, you can throw a smoke like this, I believe. If you play up here, it's hard for them to see you. until they swing really, really wide. But hopefully we can kill them before they get there. An interesting one way that I see sometimes in ranked is if they're coming garage a lot, you can throw it on top of this door. Just make sure the green arrow is higher than the floor, and it falls like this. And if they run through, hopefully we kill them. If you aim like me, maybe not. If you're going B, you can do these one ways up top, something like this, I believe. And it'll land on the ledge, and then it's really difficult for them to run through. But you do need to be like aware of this. Like your teammates, like if you're running in, they can die under them, but it does make it really annoying to deal with the retake. So if you're defending A site, you get pushed back, for example. It's pretty strong to do it one way like this. It's hard for them to see. If you're playing on attack side coming A, say you use both your smokes, you get one back and then post plant, you can smoke like this. It's easy to hold them running out. If they're already past this point and the bomb is planted like here, for example, you can do the same thing. You can smoke on top of it. Try to make sure it's like kind of in line with the bomb, so it's difficult to defuse. Omen's pretty strong on this map. I think his teleports give him a lot of playmaking potential, and he's pretty strong, and you should try him in the ranked games. That's most of the one ways I throw. That's as many as I could remember. I think like the biggest thing to remember with one ways is you want to use them at choke points where you think people are going to be coming through. Don't just throw them for fun. Like you should have like a reason behind it, and it'll get you a lot of free kills. I think with Omen, it's pretty strong to use one of your smokes at the beginning of a round because they don't regenerate until you use one. So it's pretty good to get that on cooldown or starting the cooldown as soon as possible. And it also helps you control the map easier, which should in turn make the rounds easier. But obviously it's not always going to turn out that way. But I think a lot of the time, especially on the defense side, it's pretty strong to use the smoke instantly. Attack side, it also is strong, but it's not as strong. So I think on defense, you should start the round with a one way or like a normal smoke to get some map control. But on attack, it's pretty dependent on like the map. Like Haven, for example, I think it's good to throw a smoke, but on Ascent, not as strong. It's good, but it's not as strong. It can cause some issues. On defense, though, for example, I would definitely recommend throwing a one-way pretty much every round, or a smoke for map control purposes. Thank you guys for watching. These are all the one-way smokes that I think are super useful on Omen, and I think it'll help you win your ranked games. Thank you for Microsoft for helping present this.